I'm a little tired, but we're gonna make this happen. I had my little one had a nightmare last night. I was up late with him, so I'm trying to keep it together this morning. But good morning. So happy to see y'all. Hey, Kathy. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? I heard you're tired, but try to
Yes,
keep the energy up to support you.
thank you. I appreciate the
Welcome.
support. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm full of energy. You guys are giving me life right now. So um he's fast asleep, but I'm here with y'all. Good morning.
Family. Good morning, Mr. Blessing.
All right, we had Teresa coming in. All right. We are going to, if you can, grab a pen and paper. We have a lot of resources that I'll be giving you and a lot of information this morning as well. It's a shorter session today, so we want to make sure you get all that you can get while you're here in the space. Good morning, Teresa. How you doing? Good morning. And Facebook family, if you're watching there, come on inside. Come on, join the session today. Come on into Zoom. All right. So again, we are talking about honoring our legacy, ancestral remembrance, reconnection, and the all too important topic of reparations and what that means to us here in this country. Good morning, Teresa.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning, we're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
All right. Once again, good morning, everyone. I am Catherine Mbali Green Johnson. I'm so excited to be here with y'all this morning. Good morning, Ariane. Good morning, Ajay. So excited to see you all have joined. And we're going to really have a great discussion today. Again, if you have a pen, a paper, please keep that in hand, keep that handy, your phone, wherever you can take notes, because I will be giving lots of resources so you can take with you to further your research and your journey. But I want to start by sharing my screen because we are going to talk about honoring our legacy. All right. Today's discussion is around ancestral remembrance, reconnection, and reparations. What is ancestral remembrance? What we discover about ourselves and our experiences and traditions of our ancestral line. So what does that mean? That basically, I remember when I was growing up, in the 80s, hip hop generation, seeing guys pour a little liquor in the corner, pour a little, the 40 out on the street, not realizing that they were performing libation, right? Like these are traditions that, we have been this traditions that go into our ancestral line that we may not be familiar with all the time. And so I'm going a little fast. I'm going to slow down because before we even begin, I want to bring into the space the energy of our ancestors. And so we typically would do a libation here, but because today is a truncated event, I'm going to ask that you all in the chat write the names of the ancestors that you would like to bring into the space, the energy that you would like to bring into the space today. I am calling on the spirit of my great grandmother, Josephine Slade, who lived to 101. She was extremely strong. She was a matriarch of our family. She raised my mother and many children in our community. Just stories upon stories about her jogging on her 100th birthday and chopping wood at 101. Just the strength that she brings, I would love to call in her energy. I would also love to call in the energy of my grandmother, Catherine Green, who I'm named after, my namesake. She is, I never got to meet her. She passed when my dad was 3 years old. But I always walked with her, of course, her name and her spirit and her energy. And she was a teacher. I like to fashion myself as one who loves to teach, loves to educate as well. So I would love to call her in. And I'm going to just read out some of the names in the chat. And Facebook family, if you can also just just add names in your chat as well. I see we're calling in the energy of Olive Jeffrey, Eurydice Bruce, Frank Jordan, Cecil Lovell, Virginia Lovell, Ethel Robles Edwards, and Ancita McBean, Nora Liverpool, William Simmons, right, Lula Davis, Henry Pascat, Alfonso and Florence Scott, Marjorie Alicia Vaughn, Reginald, Jamelia, Joan, Esme, Reginald, Herbert, Gwendolyn, William Watson Sr., and Hewitt Rose, my grandfather's, Ariane, Herbert Bruce, David Lovell, and this again, Helen Jordan, Irving Jordan, Edwin Williams, Uncle Arthur, Ina Scott, Jimmy Thompson, Lena Thompson, Mary Flynn, Johnny McKay, Betty Thompson, Grady Bird, and James Flynn. Wow, Facebook family, Sienna Robinson, MacArthur Cleckley, Eleanor Ramstar, Florence Curtin, and many, many, many others. Thank y'all. This is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. If I missed calling your ancestor's name in the space, please call it in your space. Bring their energy in today. We're going to use their energy to really push this conversation forward. So I also like to call in the spirit of my father, William Green, and my sister, Yvonne Smith. All right, and with that, we will move on. Do you remember? And what I mean by this is there are certain, like I mentioned before, there's certain things that we do or have experienced in our lives that we may not know where it came from. We may have heard, that's something that we do in our family, but not really understanding the connection. So what you're looking at right here on my shared screen is came out of a conversation, out of my research, a conversation I had with my father. So I mentioned that my father's mother, my grandmother, passed away when he was only 3 years old. So I never had the pleasure of meeting her. And of course, he didn't have a memory of her either. And my dad just passed in April, but maybe about I say about 4 years ago, we happened to be driving. He was driving me somewhere, and I just looked over to him. I randomly, I don't know why, the spirit just hit me, and I asked him, does he remember anything of his mother? And he was like, girl, like, I was 3 years old. How am I supposed to remember anything? And, got quiet for a minute. And then he kind of just looked off and he looked at me. He said, I do. He's like, I don't know. I always had this dream that I was at the funeral at the graveside, and somebody passed me over the casket. And I thought that was such an odd memory, such an odd thing to remember. And he's like, yeah, it's probably a dream. And that night I could not shake it. So I just started to research, look up all night, and I found this article that is called Shaking Off the Spirit, Passing the Baby Over a Coffin is a Gullah tradition that endures. And so my father is from South Carolina. He's from Charleston. And of course, the Gullah Geechee Islands are in South Carolina. And so, bada bing, bada boom, I'm like, wow, that is a tradition. The article also states that this is a West African tradition. It's something that we brought over from the transatlantic slave trade. That we bought this tradition over and kept this tradition for many, many years. And so that next day, I'll never forget, he came to my office because we all sort of had a family business. He came to the office and I showed him this article, and I've never seen my father cry but once in my life. And this was the second time I saw him just shed tears, just realizing that all of these years he thought this was a dream, and it was actually a reality. And so I treasure this article. I have it on my altar, just to never forget that these traditions that we sometimes just push back in our minds as ridiculous, or this is just something that we do, are very, very important to who we are and to our legacy as a people. And if you can remember anything that is, in your family that has been done, and that you just, maybe don't know the connection to, or you do know the connection to, I ask that you put it in the chat, so that we can all experience that knowledge as well. And I'm going to go into your next slide here. So another story from my family is my mom just recently. I mean, I talk to my mother like maybe 3 times a week. And we have a wealth of, history on her side, and all about her side of the family, and didn't know much about my dad's side, but I knew all about hers. But just like 2 weeks ago, having this conversation about, her grandmother, my great grandmother, and she mentioned, Mama used to take me down to the gravesite. Is a African burial ground in Southport, North Carolina. And, she used to have to get the wagon and fill it with seashells, and they would decorate the gravesites with the seashells. And I'm like, what? Like, when I wasn't that it was odd that I heard her say it. I just remembered hearing that at the African burial ground here in New York, doing my research here, that it was a tradition that, the Africans, when they would bury folks there, they would put seashells to mark the grave sites. And I'm like, I told my mother, I was like, Mommy, it's in Africa. That's a tradition in African culture. And she's like, well, I just, I just follow my grandmother doing what she told me to do. And not really, she didn't really understand. So when we did some more research, she showed me the African Burial Ground website from in Southport, North Carolina, and I went to it, which is the John N. Smith Cemetery. I found these incredible images that you see here. So there's a Howe family, and they still traditionally you can see back in the 1950s where they were putting the shells on the grave sites, and then they still to this day put the shells there as well. But then you also see the seashells and tombs, burial rituals from Senegal to New Orleans. And then down here on the right, it's also a tradition in Congo and some of the cultures that we brought over from the Congo as well. And so again, if you remember anything like this in your family line, please put it in the chat, or something, strange that you that you thought was strange that your family done to honor the our ancestors in cemeteries. Put it in the chat as well. I also remember meeting Lynn Manuel, oh gosh, from Hamilton. You guys know who I'm talking about. My tiredness is getting to me right now, but I was at a lecture with him, and I remember him mentioning being in Japan and experiencing a second line style funeral. And it's like, the jazz music playing, following the casket. And he asked the folks there, like, where'd you guys, like, how did this become a tradition? And learning that lots of jazz musicians would perform there, and so that culture picked up this tradition of like the second line style burial for their loved ones as well. So it's really interesting as how our traditions follow us, and other cultures adopt it as well. But it's important to know where they come from. All right, I see Stacy McLean. Stacy, can you come off mute and tell us about, can you tell us about your experience as well?
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Grand Rising. I'm it's funny. I'm listening to what you're saying, but then I'm like, oh, I remember hearing these things, but I have no idea like where did this start, or like the passing the baby over the casket. I remember hearing that so clearly. I just remember, but I have no idea what it was for, what we were doing. Definitely have to ask my mom again. My mom is from South Carolina, Moncks Corner, and it's definitely like, yeah, they have their own sets of just things that they do. So I'm just like, while I'm talking to you, like asking myself, wow, I didn't even ask. I'm sure I asked, but just don't remember. And then even the part of like with the seashells, and like when you go to the cemetery, I often visit the cemetery to go see my dad. We have rocks and seashells by the his headstone. I'm even thinking I think we even have seashells engraved, because my dad loved the beach, and we grew up like beach bums. So I've always been connected to the ocean, Yemaya, to seashells. So I don't even know where, but I don't know why. I have no idea what it is. Or it's somewhere back in my brain that's like, oh, no, you do know why. You're just not present to it. So thank you so much for this, because now I'm really looking forward to digging and going to ask my mom these questions today. And thank God that I have access to her to still ask her, and some other family members where that come from.
That's right. I'll say thank you for sharing that. And just to tell a little bit more about what I found in the connection is the belief is that but coming from the ocean into this land, like we shall return in that way. So it's opening a way for us to return home. And so that's one of the reasons that shells are used here as well. And then also just there in the Congo, they believe that the spirit is connected to the water. And so passing in the world of water to the afterlife. So these are some of the reasons that you see the shells on the grave site. So again, just really understanding the why.
I do have one thing to say in regards to that. It was just 2 days ago, and I was looking at my home because I have multiple altars, and I was like, I have unlimited seashells. Like any country I go to, any beach, I have a wealth. You would think I sold seashells because I always have seashells. So I have them on my altar. I have them just anywhere. And just like you saying that, like being connected to ocean. I used to have just an ancestor altar as well, with just my ancestors and people who passed. And I have it filled. If I go in there, I can go show you my altar right now. And I'm like, wow, there's seashells all over the place, every kind of size. Like I dug them up. I found them in different beaches, different countries. And it's like, wow. So thank you so much. So awesome.
Wow, that is awesome. And it's surprising. I have an ancestral altar too, but I don't have any seashells on it, but I definitely will start to integrate after learning this 2 weeks ago, right? So thank you so much for that share and making that connection and making this conversation, even just full. Thank you guys so much. And let me move to the next slide. So this one is just about how do we remember, right? This picture is of course a little grainy, but this is a friend of mine, a friend and colleague. Oh gosh, Audrey, Lord have mercy, Leon. His name is just escaping me right now. Rodney Leon. He's an architect, designer. He is responsible for the African burial ground site that you see in Manhattan. If you visited there, if you've not visited there, please make your way. I know even in the pandemic, this is something kind of fun to do that's outdoors. I believe it's open now. You can visit and take a look at it. It's absolutely phenomenal. Every time I go down in that area in the city in Manhattan, I try to stop, pay homage and take lunch there, whatever I need to do. And then on the bottom, you see an image of a monument that he did at the United Nations, which is called the Arc of Return. It's an absolutely stunning, stunning, stunning sculpture. Please go and take a look at it when you have a moment. As you know, the UN is if you don't know, the United Nations has a huge task force working on reparations as well, and is very committed to that work. So, and these are things that you can also lend your voice to. You can go and be a part of and become an advocate and activist. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Yes, that's right, Sakaya, please take your children. I run a nonprofit arts organization, and we have children's programs. And before pre-COVID, every summer we take a group of kids to the burial ground. They do a tour. I have a video that you can watch. My daughter's been going every year since she was like 6. She can recite that whole. No, she's sick of going there now. But the amount of knowledge that she's walked away with, and how it's formed and shaped who she is now is. I'm so happy I've done it, and all of the kids that we brought to the site. But it's really interesting to see and make connections as well. So let's see. Oh, the name of this is these museum. This is not a museum. So the African burial ground site. It's downtown Manhattan. It's over by the courthouse. You can look it up. I didn't put the resource here, but I can try and look it up and put it on the Facebook chat. And the United Nations. So they're outdoor public art. You can go and explore them outside in the public. For the burial ground site, it actually does have a museum on the inside of the building. It's a federal building, so there's a lot of, you have to make an appointment before you go in, and they have the whole security check, but it's absolutely phenomenal, worth every penny, worth every penny of your time to go. So please make your way there and just check it out and learn more about yourself and where we came from. All right. And I will move on to the reconnection piece. So reconnecting takes a lot of work. For myself, and I'll speak for myself, again, my father's side of the family, I did not know much about at all. I still don't know much about my grandfather's side. I think my dad, because he lost his mother so young, it was such a sensitive topic for him, so he didn't really share a lot. And so I ended up now with his transition in April of last year, I had to get my grandmother's maiden name in order for, for the death certificate. And I felt awful because I did not know it. And it was like, oh my God, oh my gosh, like how could I not know this information? And so I had to go to ancestry.com and sort of do, all kind of searches. He was one of 4 children, but he was the last sibling. So I didn't have my aunties to reach out to. There's no one for me to get this information from. So like Stacey said, her mother's still, here. So getting that information from our family is so important while they're here. But I didn't have that luxury. So I had to turn to some other resources, online resources. So you see here, African ancestry. I did that research as well for my paternal line. And thank goodness my brother's here, but my brother also didn't have much information. But because he's still alive, I was able to get him the swab for the African ancestry for the DNA search. And so based on the search, and you see his name here, William King, we have been identified as a part of the Bisa people living in Burkina Faso. And so the day that we received the certificate, I can't tell you like the amount of tears that just released in finding a connection to the continent, to home, knowing, where our people came from. And when I did the research on the Bisa people in Burkina Faso, very similar to the spirit of my father, very similar to what I know of him to be and of us to be. And, more research to come. I do plan on taking a trip there. I do plan on doing more research to, just make more and more connections and best is yet to come. And so I encourage you all to do the same. If you have not done African ancestry as yet, I do encourage you. It's not cheap, but it's a great investment. And we can talk a little bit about that in the reparations piece as well, because I do believe that we should not have to pay for this research. I do believe that this should be a part of our reparations accommodations, if you want to say, because I don't think that we should have to pay for this information that was ripped from us. And so I'm going to move on to the next slide. So this is, again, these are some of the research tools that you can use in order to, you can screenshot this if you need, or just take the notes, write them down. But there are millions no, I'm sorry, I won't say millions. There are lots of research tools, online tools that will help you narrow down your search. And you can see on the left here, this image is, again, I went from guys not knowing much about my father's line to, if you look, this is my dad in the black here. And look how many of my people that I was able to trace. And even, you can't even see. So I found my father's mother, right? My father's mother's parents, my great grandmother's siblings. She had a lot. And her parents, and also her parents' parents. So, and then last night when I pulled up this, and I hadn't looked at, I usually check up my my ancestry.com account maybe like once a month to see if there's anything new. As you can see, these little leaves here, that shows you that there's new information that's been found on your line. You could just check it out and see if it makes sense. Sometimes it's like a wrong person. You can tell that it's the wrong person. You can click, accept, yes, that's the right person, or no, it's not the right person, or maybe like a chance, and they'll keep doing the search. There is a monthly fee for it, but again, to me, it's worth it. But last night when I checked, I had not known anything about my grandfather and it never pulled anything up from last year, April. And now I have potential great grandparents to look up. So I'll be doing that research after I get off of this today. I was really shocked last night to see like, who are those new people over here? So they've been introducing themselves to me one by one. I'm sure he's connected with all of them right now. They want to say hi. So, and it just feels so good. It just makes you feel so whole just to get this clear picture of who we are. Or just, we know who we are as people, but, it just fills in some information and some holes and gaps. And for me, it's really great. And so again, take a screenshot of this information. And if anyone has used any of these tools, I'd love to hear from you, any of your experiences. If you can put it in the chat. And I can't see raised hands, so if anyone from the admin team can help me to search for anyone.
Teresa's hand is raised.
Awesome.
Yes, hi, good morning. Thank you so much. My sister has been doing ancestry.com, and what she saw was that like with my grandmother, my great grandmother, some of them had different names, and we were just wondering like why did they have like they have one name, and then we saw that one of our aunts was like she was a white lady, but she was related to my grandmother, and even like when they got married, we saw their marriage certificates, and it's not like the same kind of marriage certificate they have, and how they had a lot of land, and one of the things that I was talking to my sister about is like my grandma used to say her name was Robbie Campbell Henderson, and she used to say that that the Cokers, it's a white family, stole all her land. And I remember years ago, my mother had the deeds in her house. She used to have this little purple can, but I never understood the significance of what that connection was. And when you was talking about the shells, my grandmother always kept a lot of shells. I didn't understand why she kept the shells, but she always had like a lot of shells around her house. And the other thing that she used to keep, they used to have like the bowl, because we used to wash up in a bowl, like with that bowl, like it looks like a bowl, and you pour the water in the bowl. I remember washing up in that. It's like we didn't have like regular water. We used a bowl to wash up in. So my grandmother always had bowls and stuff like that around the house. So she's always had stuff like that. But I don't like, since my mother died, I really hadn't been to my father's house, but to go to papers and stuff like that happened. So I don't know if my dad threw the papers out, but I saw the deeds, and it said my great grandmother. Her name was Floyd Roberts, and I saw the deeds that she owned. It must have been like about 8 or 10 deeds that she owned all this land. But by the time we were kids, my great grandmother was gone, but she did own this land. So I'm really gonna speak to my sister to find out how can we find out, like how did they get the land, and because the land is gone. It's like we don't have access to the land, but the land was gone. Even my great grandmother, her father was the master, and they lived in one house, and the kids lived in another house, and they have tons of land, the same thing. But I guess, well, I didn't think I could do it when I was dealing with, I was with my physical thing, but I've been talking to family members. Y'all need to go down there because my grandmother has acres of land. When I'm talking about acres, no one has followed through to see what's going on.
Yeah, there. So every city. I mean, I what state was this?
Well, my grandmother is Robbie Campbell. That's Hartsville, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
And my other grandmother is Sparta, Georgia.
Okay, so
I've been on her land. I've seen her land, but she passed like maybe 2 years now. But none of the family members, none of my family, the Scott family and the Henderson of our part of him has not gone on there to go see about the land.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a trip that's worth taken. And then there may be a lot of stuff online too that you may not have to go, anywhere that you can find. The only state that I know that there was a large fire and destroyed lots of records was in Virginia, about, for land ownership. But for the most part, all of this, the research that I've done, you should be able to trace. And I'm glad that you brought that up, Teresa, too, because I have been told that my grandfather did own quite a bit of property in South Carolina, and that's something that's a research that I had not jumped on that. So I need to definitely, so things like that, write them down, like try to keep a journal of some sort to really, like, everything you hear, like oral histories are the best. So you see on the bottom of all my research tools, what I have highlighted in large is family memory. But before I move on, community, I know it's 7:37, so I don't know if some of you may need to go. You know how we're doing on time. Kenyofu, if you can tell me what I need to do at this point.
Okay, Abimbola has her hand up, and I'm not sure how many slides you have left. Where do you want to go?
Okay, so what I'll do is let me move on to the slides, and then I'll come back. If we have enough time, then I'll come back to the questions. Sorry, Abimbola. So I want y'all to get this last information. All right, awesome. Here we go. All right, so this is again just pointing out oral history being extremely important. I just did a large project in South Orange, New Jersey, for the Township for Black History Month, called Sankofa Honoring Our Stories. That's through my consulting company, helping the community gather oral histories for residents here in the neighborhood. And there's a website. You can go to my website, you'll see it on the slides and to access it. But yeah, it's a beautiful project with some interviews from community residents. So things like that you can do that for yourself, for your own families, just recording those stories, just to keep them archived, because we lose so much information. It's really important for us to get this down. So the images you see here are this is my great aunt, Marianne Galloway. See, she lived since she was 118, and when she passed away. In the center, you see my great grandfather, which is Abram Galloway. Abram was a soldier in the Civil War. He was one of the Black soldiers in the Civil War, and of course his work did not get acknowledged. They did a reenactment ceremony back in the 90s sometime, because him along with other Black soldiers had not been buried properly as a soldier fighting in the war. So that's Abram Galloway. And on the right, you see my great grandmother. She's Josephine Slade, and she's in the first picture. She's hugging my sister, my older sister, Trina, there. And yes, she was 101 when she transitioned. And the whole town of Southport, like white and Black, loved this woman. So she's in the newspaper quite a bit. Also with Reconnection, my husband and I have a travel company together. Our first trip will be to Senegal this summer, in 2021. Crossing our fingers, everything goes well. If you're going to go with us, great. We'll talk about that at the end of the slide. But it's a great way to reconnect. What you see here is an image of on Goree Island. This is called the House of Slee. You see the door of no return in the center, in the very center on the bottom. This is where many Africans were transported here from all countries on the West Coast, and kept here to await transport, and they would go through that door of no return. But we made it. I made it there. I was there in 2 years ago in 2019. I was there walking through that door, and it was such an incredible feeling. And the energies picked up there can't even tell you, but yes, it's definitely something that you want to connect with. There's many places in West Africa to visit and reconnect as well. But again, our company will be visiting Senegal in this summer. All right. Next slide is reparations. So really quickly, I'm going to run through this. I'm doing a series on reparations. You can also find that information on my website. Having a series of conversations each month. From that, I did one this month, and then we go up until May. And you can go online to see the schedule. Just learning from others who have been successful in doing this in their states, in their cities as well. But just as here, you'll see a working definition of reparations. It's just a repair. It's an act of making amends, offering expiation, or giving satisfaction for a wrong or injury, something done or given as an amends or satisfaction. Compensation in money or materials payable by a defeated nation for damages to or expenditures sustained by another nation as a result of hostilities with the defeated nation, usually used in plural. So you guys see, this is absolutely on par with what we've experienced here in this country, as well as in the Caribbean. And so there are many organizations working on this as well. I'm going to move to the next slide. This is now a national conversation. It's been a national conversation, but it's even larger now. The ACLU has been working on picking up the bill that Representative John Conyers had started, HR 40, and now has been picked up by many. I know in New Jersey, we are, you can see, oh no, it's on the next slide. I live in New Jersey, and we're working on our own HR 40 bill as well. It's gotten a lot of steam, and that basically just means that we're opening up the conversation to talk about how it can happen, what needs to happen, what wrongs have taken place, and what people want, right? And so it's not only just a check, it's that and, right? It's that and whatever else we can, think of. And each community has such different harms that have been done. So it's really important for each community together to sort of talk about what has been done, and then what ways which we see repair being sufficient for us all. Thank you so much for the additional research, Abimola. All right, awesome. So we also see here that reparations has taken place in this country. It's nothing new. This has been done 6 times across the world, on 4 occasions in the United States. So of course we know the Holocaust. Germany was able to give reparations to country folks of Jewish descent. Apartheid was done in South Africa, and then here in the United States, it was the Japanese internment, forced sterilization that we know about, the Tuskegee experiment, and in Rosewood. So these were successful cases of reparations, and you see here, this was a quote I took from an article about from the lead organizer of the Japanese internment reparations movement. And he says here, what are your thoughts? The question from the reporter is, what are your thoughts on reparations for slavery? He says, I don't have any answers. Our situation was very different. We didn't come out of the same historical experience. I can't think of any group that has suffered racism to the degree that Black Americans have. I know that this kind of thing is never just about money, because money is often doesn't solve the problem. It goes much deeper than that. It's the whole issue of racism in America. And so the efforts made to try to resolve the root causes, and to get at the racism is going to be a tough battle to move forward. I have no idea how you resolve something so profound, but we have to try. It can't just stagnate. It's just can't just stagnate there and fester like a wound. So these are conversations that folks are having. There have been, lots of thoughts and ways to get here. Here are again our additional resources. Please, please, please look up the United States African American Redress Network. I did an interview with the gentleman, professor at Howard University, law professor at Howard University, who created this map along with his class. And he has been able to track all of the reparations bills that have been passed along the South Atlantic corridor. So you see all of these pins on the map, and all of them have been around human rights violations. And so each pin, you see, each community has sued their governments, their prospective governments, for different reasons: slavery, historical misrepresentation, race riots, lynchings, murders, mass incarceration, massacres, segregation, wrongful incrimination and execution. So this is nothing, this is absolutely possible. Please, please, please continue to do your research. Black Lives Matter campaign has several toolkits. If you go to their website, the Movement for Black Lives has all of these toolkits that you can use in your communities to inform you, to empower you, and so you can work together to accomplish this. And I am complete here. It is 7:48. I know it's late. I'm over time, but Coach Kenyofu, is there a room for one question at least?
There is, we can do that. And I do want to say from what I see from Facebook, which I'm shocked to hear. I'm really not shocked, but I didn't know this before. Amadoma, she's in Facebook. She says that slave owners also receive reparation for loss of property after slavery.
Oh yes, they definitely did. They insurance companies paid out to slaveholders once this emancipation for the loss of labor. Yes, absolutely. So they were paid, they had free labor, made their money off of free labor, and then on top of it, received a reparation, a payout from the insurance companies for the loss of our free labor.
Yeah. So the Abimbola had her hand, I think it was Abimbola had her hand, or maybe it was Amadoma, but the hand is down now.
Okay. So I had my hand up. This is Abimbola, and I put the information in the chat because Ancestry is one good source, but Family Search, I've been doing familysearch.org, and it is a free site and the Mormons, they have a large amount of history. And for those of us that have Caribbean ancestry, it's amazing. I was able to find my grandparents, my great-grandparents, the manifest when they came over through Ellis Island, and a lot of history. I've done a lot of research. So, and then African American Historical and Genealogy Society. A lot of my friends are in New York, and they have a chapter in New York as well as Metro Atlanta. So I just wanted to share those resources with the community. And lastly, I did my DNA, and I've been dealing with African Afrocentricity since the 70s. And come to find out, here it is, when I found out in 2020 that I'm 96% African ancestry. My father's line from Barbados, and they listed him as a Black African on the manifest. So I'm tracing that route. So thank you for this here information.
That's right. Thank you so much. The Genealogy Society, yes, is on the list of the resources. They're amazing. There's so many ways, way more than, what had existed, 10, 20 years ago. If you even visit the the museum, African American Museum in Washington, D.C., there's tons of research and information there as well. There's so much more access to our history and our ancestral lines. Oh gosh, sorry, I was going to mention another resource, but it just skipped my mind. But it's, you know, it's really important. It's, to me, it's something that, you know, it cannot fester, as the gentleman said in the article. It can't. There have been too many things that have happened in this country that have been unaddressed to the African American. And, you know, although we want to continue to remember our history and to honor that, but to really honor is to right the wrongs that have been done. I don't see a way forward without that. And then again, it's not just about a check, it's that. And how do we address the lynchings? How do we address the forced, the false imprisonment, folks disappearing off the street? I have an uncle apparently that, you know, great uncle that went to go up north with the Great Migration and disappeared. Like, no one has heard, like, no one knows what happened to him. You know, these things have been commonplace. Folks were snatched off the street and put into the to work in the coal in the mines, yeah, for jaywalking, you know, as a sentence. And so you hear these stories and you want to continue to just document them, write everything down, ask the folks who, thank you, Stacy, those who, you know, those who are still here with us. That's the best, the oral histories. That's the best start. And then dig, dig, dig. Again, my family, my father's family, mother's side, trace them all those generations that you saw on that tree to back to Strawberry, South Carolina, which was formerly known as Strawberry Plantation. It's an unincorporated town. It is 900 acres of land. So to know that 4 generations of my father's family nurtured that land, and I don't even know anything about it. I have one picture that I found of a home on that land. Like, that this just can't be. So I am complete. Thank you all so very much. Kenyofu, I'll pass it off to you. This is a conversation we need to do again.
Excuse me, can I just say one thing? The Schomburg Library has a free program for anyone who has teens, and they show them a lot of Black history, things that they would never see, and only if they're in this program. I forgot the name of the program, but my niece was in it, and she have seen pictures and things of people that we don't have access to, but because these kids are in this program, I forgot. I'm gonna get the name of the program. I'm gonna put it on you know, whatever in the chat.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
they have a program where they actually like she saw like handwritings of Martin Luther King, stuff that we don't have access to, and all the stuff is in the Schomburg Library on 135th Street in Lenox. But it's only for this team program. It's a team curated program, and she actually got to do like she made videos, arts, all of them, all along with all the people that we have never seen, and they're doing this program right now at the Schomburg Library, and it's free, but you have to apply for application. So I'm gonna find out when it ends and when it starts, and I'll put it in the chat. Okay.
Yep, thank you. Teresa just put it in the chat. It is the Junior Scholars Program. And if you go onto my website, you'll also see an interview that I did with Dr. Khalil Jabrad Muhammad, who was the director of the Schomburg. He lives out here in Jersey with me, and he, you know, just is a great friend, and he's also an amazing resource. So, you know, can follow him on Twitter or wherever. He's always giving out great information, especially on reparations.
Thank you, Catherine. It's beautiful information. Can you please drop the links, the resources in the Facebook chat?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Coach, all right. All right, family. So we do have a special offer today, and I am offering a $50 discount onto our next trip, the trip to Senegal. You can go to my website, catherinembali.com, to learn more about it. The discount code that you will use when you reach out to us is WOO 2021. And I'm selecting a number, correct?
Oh, I thought this was
Oh, I'm sorry. That's open for the WOO community. Thank you. No, that's fine. It's open to the WOO community. So please go online, check that out. And so you can definitely take advantage of the $50 discount for the travel, so for our next travel session. And we can move to the next slide. All right, this is the way you can contact me. This is a phone number, my Facebook, my Instagram, my email, and again, my website has a lot of information, so you can go there to find out more about me, some of the programs and things that I'm working on as well. And next slide. Next up, tomorrow is the beautiful Portia Brown, my sister. She's going to talk to you all about mindful sex. I will definitely be on that call, that that wake up tomorrow. She's a beautiful sister, and you're going to enjoy that. In the next slide. All right, so our schedule, don't forget, for a wake up Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, we are on from 7 a.m. to 8:30. And then on Mondays and Wednesdays, we are only on from 7 a.m. to 7:30, although I went a little late today. And then don't forget to like us on Facebook, join the Facebook group, and you can always watch the replays there as well. And thank you guys. Please keep in touch with all of us. You have my contact information. Here's all the wake up information as well. And I hope you guys have a really beautiful day. Thank you for this opportunity to come to Wake Up Community. This is my third time here, and I so appreciate you all for giving me this platform. And I'm complete.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Kat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very informative.
Thank you,
Abundance
Catherine.
to you.
Thank
you so much for your knowledge.
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you so
Great
much.
knowledge and great
Day,
power.
everyone.
Morning, everybody. Let's stay connected. Thank you, admin team. Peace, love, and namaste.
And let's move forward, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Much love, abundance, and manifestation. Catherine, thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Let's move forward,
Family,
everybody.
peace and love. Everybody stay healthy.
I love y'all.
Peace and love.
Hold on, I can't hear you.